Hello. My name's Elder, and welcome back to another episode of the Open Debate. Thanks for joining us in the chat there, Thomas Sue's World. Trash clickbait. We'll see you in a minute. We're going to get to a little bit of a video analysis breakdown and see what's going on here with this whole Deon Kay case. So each and every day, something new seems to be coming out. I woke up this morning thinking, who's gonna be doing what today? And it turns out there's a new story where a young man was shot in Washington, D.C. by police. And his name was Deon Kay. And we're going to get into a video analysis breakdown of the body cam footage and what the police department is claiming happened at this point in time. The video footage was just released, according to my knowledge, and we will get to checking it out and breaking it down, guys. Thank you all for joining us here today, and it is what it is. You know what we do here on the channel? We get together for hard conversations, hard topics, hard discussions, and so this is all new to me, and it's breaking. Usually what we do here is go over things and research together because it's a community. It's not just my opinion coming to you. It's all of our discussions together. All right, so let's start getting into what the police department is saying. This is coming from the Washington. Well, let me just actually go to it. The official DC Police YouTube channel. They are the ones that are releasing the body cam footage as well, so I assume that it is the actual YouTube channel of the DC Police. And we will just sit here and see what they have to say, check out how they frame things, and just see what's up, at least to this point, from what we're seeing.
This is the community briefing involving the fatal shooting of Mr. Deon Kay involving a uniformed police officer on Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020, in the 200 block of Orange Street Southeast. All viewers should be aware that this contains graphic content of a fatal shooting. The Metropolitan Police Department's model use of force policy and training emphasize de-escalation, proportionality, and reasonableness. Above all, MPD recognizes the sanctity of human life and that any loss of life is a tragic outcome for a family and a community. Since December 2016, all patrol officers are required to wear body-worn cameras. On Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020, at approximately 3:49 p.m., uniformed MPD officers were in the area of the 200 block of Orange Street Southeast to investigate a man with a gun. Upon arrival, the officers approached individuals in a parked vehicle. Mr. Deon Kay exited the vehicle and began to run on foot. Officers pursued Mr. Kay on foot. An officer observed Mr. Kay brandish a firearm, and subsequently the officer discharged his service weapon once, striking Mr. Kay in the chest.
So that's the breakdown around what they're saying the situations were. So there was individuals called to police officers called to a scene where there were individuals, apparently they had a gun had been seen, and they were coming to check it out, and whatever, there were people in a car, and this guy's going to roll up on the scene. There were already officers on the scene, so I'd like to see the body cam footage from them, but this is the officer that was involved in the shooting, and I understand that's why they're releasing this footage right now. So we'll go through. So, like we said, the police officer rolling up to the scene. He believes that the suspect has a gun. There's already officers on the scene, and he's coming up to do whatever he's going to do. It will be graphic. So that's how quick things happened. We will go over just what happens throughout the rest of this video here, but we're gonna go back and break that down a little bit here. The officer gets out of his car and runs up to the scene. Has his gun already pulled, as you see in the I don't know if I can get it there, but get posited in the right spot. You can see he has his gun out, and there's Buddy, Deon Kay, running, and that's the moment there. They will break it down, and I'll show you just an analysis of what they claim to be still frames. So he shoots them immediately as he's running, but he runs in front of the guy, shoots him, he's down. The officer's pointing, saying that he tossed it down there, saying that he tossed the gun down there. And I wasn't too sure really what they meant. Hey there, Matt. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Shout out to Rhinos. Oh yeah, best pizza around. Shout out to Rhinos. I wasn't too sure what they meant because they said that the officer saw him brandishing a weapon, and he started firing. And this is why it's key to actually break down the video and see what happened, because the narrative is that he brandished a weapon and he then the officer fired, shot one shot into his chest, struck him in the chest. And the rest of the video is this dude like wandering around looking for the gun that this guy apparently tossed, but he said that he saw him brandishing a gun, right? And so
I don't know, I'm looking for the guy, he's up there. I did.
So he tells them that he made the shot and he's looking for the gun. So he's wandering around.
One, this way. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's wandering around for a while, and then he just comes like
Hey, I got it.
yeah, he just like comes down here. Where is it? I don't see him pick anything up or anything, but I guess now all of a sudden he has it.
He's got a do-rag on his head.
And this officer comes over. This is what he says.
I got it right here. Do we think he has a gun? I don't know. This is the one that he was holding.
He said, I don't know. This is the one that he was holding. I don't know how he would have thrown the gun from up here all the way down into that area. But this is the breakdown that they're going to give you, at least. Like, this is coming from the police department as well. Keep that in mind. But
I'm involved. When the video is brought to slow motion, you can see Mr. K brandishing.
Saying that you can see him brandishing a firearm. And you know, what does the police officer do? He shoots him. He ran in front of the guy. It's not like he had the gun. Maybe the guy should have dropped the gun. What's the situation, right? What's going on here? How could it have been changed? How could it have been de-escalated? How could it have been handled differently? That's pretty much what I'm trying to get at. If this individual was running around with guns in the middle of the street and police were coming to detain him and talk to him about the situation that he just got into, then you know, you're like, oh shit, you're busted now, man. Like, if you're gonna start running and stuff, then you're gonna take the risk of getting shot. And I don't think that it should have happened. I'm sad that it did happen. It's an interesting thing. Mel Ba says he can't pick up the gun. Yes, it has to be left for CSI. Okay, well that makes a lot of sense, right? That makes more sense. He just located where it was. That 100% makes sense. But back up a few frames. Yeah, here I'll go.
Fire. I'm involved. When the video was brought to slow.
So you can see the officer runs in front of him. And Buddy's running. I don't know. My arms aren't flailing around like that when I'm running, but he looks like he's like in the air. I don't know. It's strange. Like, whose arms flail around? Well, whatever. What's he doing? Is he pulling out the gun to shoot the officer? Or were his arms just flailing around like that? So it comes out right there, right? You can see how it may have been interpreted to somebody as he was pulling the gun around to draw the gun on someone. But with the few frames before, it kind of looks like Buddy had wobbly arms running.
Firearm in his right hand. Mr.
Yeah, and so there is an extended clip, and it's just the full body cam footage. Like we see everything that happened there. It's just sits in the car for a few more seconds in the beginning, and then in the end, it goes on for a little while longer with the police officers. See, and you can hear everybody freaking out now. Obviously, because that's what happens. But this officer stays down here. Yeah, okay. See, and breaking it down together, things are coming a little bit more clear. Yeah, it would make sense that he was like throwing the gun, but the officer thinks that he's pulling it to fire, hence why it went so far. And so he may have just been pulling out the gun in order to throw it, and that may have been the reason it went so far down the hill, because that to me made like almost no sense. I was like, well, how could it have gone so far? But yeah, he may have been just trying to toss the gun, as though that would have done anything, as though that would have made any sort of difference. Jerry Box, thanks for joining us in the chat. His mom said he didn't have a gun. So that's the whole thing. His mom said he didn't have a gun. And, sometimes parents don't know what their children are up to and what they're doing. And obviously, you're going to defend your kids to the very end. This is, it's just being reported. I'm not going to go out of my way to say that this is 100% true. And these are definitely this kid's friends. And this is a memorial. These are memorials being held for him by his close friends. But if these are the individuals that this guy was hanging out with, I would not doubt that there would be they may have been called to a scene where there were guns on hand. It's the thing is, the problem is the lifestyle that's perpetuated. It's glorified and shown to be cool. All of these individuals acting like they're in a rap video, pointing the guns at the cameras. It's like, yeah, you can have guns, you can have an interest in guns, that's fine, but it's like responsible gun use is key. And one of those things. It's just very incriminating if he supposedly didn't even own a gun, yet if these are his friends, they all have guns, they all chill with guns hanging out all the time. Doesn't seem like it's a really big deal. And hanging out in cars. It is what it is, right? Like, if that's the lifestyle that you're in and that's been perpetuated, then it's not going to seem like a big deal until the day comes when it is a big deal. And that's the issue. That's the problem. That's when you end up getting into a situation where you didn't expect yourself to be approached by police. You've just been doing the same thing you've been doing every other day, and then it turns into a situation like this, where you freak out and you try to say toss the gun, but it looks like you're pulling the gun on the police officer who just quickly ran up on the scene and ran in front of him, by the way. And it resulted in the loss of the life of a young man. It doesn't, like, there's no justification in any of the actions. There's definitely ways to de-escalate situations, although when everybody has guns, what do you do in these situations? It's like you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. You don't bring a taser to a gunfight. If somebody is if you feel as though your life's being threatened with a weapon, you would rather have a weapon of equal merit to defend yourself with. Although this didn't seem like it was an act of self-defense. It seemed as though the police officer was fearful for his life. He threw himself into that situation by running in front of the perpetrator. You know, he knew that they potentially had a gun, so you need to secure your surroundings, make sure you know exactly what's going on. He ran up on the scene with his gun drawn in front of the guy, and then instantly fired as soon as he saw a weapon. So I don't really know. That's like the breakdown that I'm feeling right now. Mel Boss says people try to ditch guns because the possession of one during the commission of a crime greatly increases charges of penalty, which okay, but I mean, he threw it into a park. Everybody, someone's gonna find it. And you think it's an open field. He was an astronaut and shit. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I just wanted to come on, break that down. Today's actually going to be a much shorter stream than average, but that's okay. We still came in. We still were able to break something down, have an analysis, have a discussion about things that are going on in the public sphere. Because, like I said, something different happens every single day, and it's crazy to see the escalation of how rampant things are getting. Like how not only within the police system, yes, there's lots of corruption and it's being exposed largely, but how emboldened individuals are becoming on the streets to enact crimes that they feel justified in. Not saying that has anything to do with this individual, just in general around everything that we've been discussing. We're watching the progression of something. We're watching something. So what do y'all got to say there in the chat? So what was he supposed to do? Let the man with the gun run off and do whatever he wants, right? It's like, what? Well, should he have killed the individual? Was it a person who was dangerous to the public, or was he just in possession of a gun? Was he doing things that were threatening? Like, what was the situation? What was the actual call? Like, from what we were told, they were just called to a scene where there was individuals seen with a gun. You shouldn't have to kill somebody in order to ensure that they're no longer going to be a threat to the public, especially if they aren't even really displaying a threatening nature to the public. If you just believe that they may potentially be a threat at some point because they are in possession of something that you don't want them to have, the item could potentially lead to destruction of some sort, then there's other ways. That's why they were trying to apprehend him and arrest him. The reason that like killing somebody would ever be justified would be self-defense when your life's on the line and you're about to die, and it's going to be you or them, plain and simple. The only other way, the only other option, there was no other way out, and that's like one of the only ways I could see. But Jerry Rock says, I sure as hell wouldn't want to be a cop. Yeah, especially not right now. Bottom line is police have less than a second to react, and as you saw, he did react in less than a second. He saw the gun and just fired. He apparently didn't fire fast enough for this guy not to get off a nice solid throw. I mean, if this didn't have happened, thought he could have probably been a baseball player. Zuki Films, thanks for joining us in the chat there. According to the DC press conference, the police officers had previous contacts with Deon, so they may have known who he was, and they may have felt as though he was being threatening. But either way, that even leads to more. That leads to more of a thought around why they would instantly shoot this individual if they've been in contact with him before. We could look at the history and see if the contact that they've made with him before have all been violent situations that have resulted in assault against the police or assault against other members of the public or violent interactions. And if that was the case, it would be more understandable why the police officer would be fearful for his life if he saw this individual running towards him and pulling a gun out. But if the interactions have all been peaceful for the most part, or at least non-violent, then that would lead to more evidence of this police officer just not handling the situation as properly as it could have been handled, in my opinion. But that's an interesting perspective. And if you had run off and killed someone, you would see police blamed for not stopping him. Yeah, that's the situation why it's I wouldn't want to be a police officer right now. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. These individuals that are out in the streets marching saying defund the police, fuck the police, pigs in a blanket, all sorts of things. All cops are bastards, yada yada yada. The moment anything happens and they're feeling oppressed, they instantly call the police and want them to protect them. And so it's a double-edged sword. These individuals don't know what they're really looking for. Yeah. Interesting. I just wanted to come on, break this down, have a little analysis, see what everybody thought. And because these videos were just coming out, I wanted to go over them with the community so that we all got to actually see the footage for ourselves, not just opinions from the media and what they interpreted the footage to look like. So it's there for you to see. You can check it out for yourself in full, longer if you'd like. And yeah, but thank you all for coming out and hanging out for the morning. Mel Bazuki Films, Ramiro Ramirez, Jerry Rax, Vince Carter. Hey, Vince Carter. Everybody, thanks for coming out. Matt Azarello, Thomas Sue's World, all of you guys, thanks for being here in the chat. It's always good to have a community of individuals who like to come out and have hard conversations. If you want to follow me over on Parler, you can do that at the Open Debate. And yeah, do stuff over there, do stuff on here. And we're just trying to build a community of individuals who like to get together for hard conversations. But with that being said, let me know how you feel in the let me know how you feel in the comments below, and make sure you share this video with your friends and let me do the talking for you. If they want to get mad at someone, let them get mad at me. With that being said, my name is Elder. This has been another episode of the Open Debate. Be your own hero.